Trying to fix them between long stories and shorter stories is not easy. I always want to make these stories longer, so I hope this is a good middle point. Love you guys. Please like and subscribe. Trying to get that 1,000-point main story. I was supposed to be a disposable supporting character, but my fate refund system bugged out. Chapter 1. I was the cannon fodder supporting character in a tragic romance. Poor. Pathetic. Destined to die. According to the plot, I would spend my entire life helping the female lead. Money, time, blood, organs, eventually even my life. Only after my death would the male lead and female lead finally understand their feelings for each other. Then they would begin a heartbreaking love story spanning hundreds of chapters. As for me, I would be buried beneath a cheap gravestone nobody visited. At least that was supposed to happen. Until the basketball hit my head. Bang! A sharp pain exploded in my skull. Suddenly countless memories flooded into my mind. Novel. Plot. Death. Supporting character. Everything became clear. I stood frozen in the middle of the school courtyard. Across from me stood my childhood friend. Her name was Ivy Hart, the female lead. Axel, what's wrong? She looked at me with concern. I nearly cursed it out loud. Concern. The girl who would eventually squeeze every last drop of value out of me. The girl who would watch my parents suffer after my death. The girl responsible for half the tragedy in this novel. At that moment, a mechanical voice suddenly rang inside my head. Ding! Detecting host. Fate correction system activated. I nearly jumped. The voice continued. Mission: refuse female lead's request. Reward $10,000. I blinked. What? 10,000. Ivy frowned. Axel. I remembered the plot. She had broken someone's limited edition fountain pen. Soon she would ask me for money. Just like always. Sure enough, she lowered her head. Axel. The pen costs $1,000. I don't know what to do. The system spoke again. Countdown beginning. Please correct fate. 10. 9. I stared. Then smiled. I'm sorry. I can't help. Silence. Ivy froze. So did I. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then ding. Fate corrected. Reward granted. My phone vibrated. Bank notification. $10,000 deposited. I sucked in a breath. Holy crap. The system was real. Chapter 2. That night another system activated. Not mine. In a luxury villa across the city. A handsome young man stared at the ceiling. His name was Adrian Blackwell, the original male lead. And he had awakened too. Ding. Destiny domination system activated. Adrian sat up quickly. What? The system answered. Acquire protagonist fate. Control world storyline. Rewards granted according to destiny harvested. His eyes lit up immediately. Unlike me, Adrian understood power. The moment he saw the system, he became obsessed. What was money compared to controlling fate itself? Nothing. Meanwhile, someone else received a system. A beautiful girl stood before a mirror. Silver hair. Cold eyes. Graceful and elegant. Her name was Elena Ravencrest. Adrian's childhood friend. His first love. The girl he would eventually abandon for Ivy. Ding. Guardian system activated. Protect chosen individuals. Destroy corrupted fate. Reward growth. Elena frowned. Chosen individual. A panel appeared. A single name glowed. Axel Vale. Him. Chapter 3. Over the next month my life changed. Every time I avoided helping Ivy, money appeared. She wanted lunch. I refused. $2,000. She wanted tutoring. I refused. $3,000. She wanted me to buy a concert ticket. I refused. $5,000. My bank account exploded. Meanwhile, Ivy's situation continued worsening. One afternoon, she cornered me. Axel, why have you changed? I sighed. I haven't changed. You just don't have access to my wallet anymore. Her face turned red. You think that's all I care about? I looked at her directly for the first time and answered honestly. Yes. She froze, then stormed away. I felt fantastic. Ding. Emotional dependency event failed. Reward $20,000. Amazing. Refusing manipulation was apparently profitable. Chapter 4. 3 days later. Something unexpected happened. I met Elena. The first moment our eyes met, her system activated. Ding. Target located. Danger level extreme. Doom fate attached. Elena stared at me, then looked horrified. What happened? I blinked. What? She pointed. Not at me. At the air around me. Black chains wrapped around my body. Invisible to ordinary people, but apparently not to system holders. The world wants you dead. I laughed. Tell me something I don't know. Elena's eyes widened. You know. I nodded. For the first time since awakening, I told somebody everything. The novel. The plot. The systems. The death. Everything. When I finished, Elena remained silent, then finally said, Good. I was confused. Good. She nodded. If you already know, then maybe we can fight back. Chapter 5. Unfortunately, we weren't the only ones preparing. Across town, Adrian sat before Ivy. The female lead looked exhausted. Financial problems, academic problems, social problems. Everything was falling apart. Adrian smiled softly. I can help. Ivy stared. Why? Because you're special. The moment she heard those words, her system awakened. Ding. Heroine Ascension System activated. Ivy gasped. Panels appeared before her eyes. Become world's central heroine. Conquer fate. Recruit supporting characters. Reward authority. Her eyes widened. Adrian smiled. Perfect. Everything was proceeding according to plan. Because Ivy didn't know something. The Heroine Ascension System wasn't natural. Adrian had created it, using his Destiny Domination System. He had given her power, because he needed her. Needed her to pull Axel back into the original plot. Needed Axel's suffering. Needed Axel's destiny. Needed Axel's death. The more fate suffered, the stronger Adrian became. Chapter 6. Months passed. The battle began quietly, then escalated. Soon strange events surrounded me every day. Lottery tickets appeared. I won. Scholarships appeared. I qualified. Investments appeared. They succeeded. My fate correction system kept rewarding me. But Adrian's attacks also intensified. Every correction triggered resistance. Every success invited retaliation. One night, a truck lost control. Straight toward me. I froze. Too fast. Too sudden. Then boom. A figure slammed into me. We rolled across the pavement. The truck smashed into a wall. Elena groaned. Blood covered her arm. I stared. You idiot. She laughed weakly. Pretty heroic, wasn't it? For the first time, I was genuinely scared. Not for myself. For her. And something inside me shifted. Chapter 7. The System War officially began. Ding. Fate Correction System warning. Hostile system detected. Ding. Heroine Ascension System activated. Ding. Destiny Domination System activated. Ding. Guardian System activated. 4 systems. 4 chosen users. The night sky cracked. Invisible energy surged through the city. Adrian stood atop a skyscraper. Ivy beside him. Elena beside me. The world itself seemed to tremble. Adrian smiled. Axel, why not accept your role? I laughed. My role. He spread his arms. Supporting characters exist to support. You are fuel. You are destiny. You were born to die for us. I glanced at Elena. Then looked back. Funny. Because I think you've got that backwards. The sky exploded with light. System versus system. Destiny versus correction. Heroine versus guardian. The first great battle had begun. And for the first time, the story no longer belonged to the male lead and female lead. It belonged to me, and the woman willing to stand beside me against fate itself. Elena Ravencrest, the villain's first love. My future heroine. To be continued. Provide your feedback on BizChat. You said, rewrite but make it between 10,000 to 15,000 words, Copilot said. Copilot. Reasoning completed in 1 step. Absolutely, I can rewrite it into a 10,000,15,000 word version, but that length won't fit cleanly in one chat response. I'll serialize it in parts while keeping it as one continuous story. Below is part 1 of the rewrite, using the same translated web novel-style grammar and pacing from your uploaded story, with changed names and the new setup. MC has a money fate system. The villain man and villain woman both have systems. They try to pull him back into the plot, and the MC becomes a hero to the villain's first love. I'm using the uploaded story's core premise and tone as the reference point. YouTube 702 word. I was supposed to be the tragic wallet, but my system started paying me instead. Chapter 1. I was the unlucky sucker tool character in a tragic romance novel. Poor, stupid, infatuated, and destined to die. In the original story, I was supposed to spend my whole life supporting the female lead. When she was hungry, I bought her food. When she had no tuition money, I begged my parents. When she wanted gifts, I worked part-time until midnight. When she went blind, I gave her one of my eyes. When the male lead was in danger, I gave him my life. Then after I died, the female lead finally understood how important I was. She cried. She hated the male lead. The male lead felt guilty. Then the two of them started a long, tragic romance. Abuse. Misunderstanding. Separation. Reunion. Another misunderstanding. Another reunion. 800 chapters later, they finally held hands under the sunset. As for me, my grave had weeds growing taller than my tombstone. Even my parents suffered because of me. My father died because he could not afford treatment. My mother died alone. And the female lead, who had eaten my family's food for over 10 years, did not even look back. So when a basketball hit my head and I suddenly remembered everything, I almost laughed from anger. The ball hit me hard. Bang! My forehead went numb. The world spun. Then countless memories rushed into my brain. Novel. Plot. Female lead. Male lead. Supporting character. Death. I stood in the school courtyard, holding my head, unable to speak. In front of me stood my childhood friend. Her name was Lyra Snow, the female lead of this world. She had just accidentally broken the expensive fountain pen of a rich second-generation student. That student was Kale Voss, the male lead. No, maybe I should call him the future villain now. Because the moment I remembered the plot, I understood something. A person who accepts someone else dying for him without looking back is not a male lead. He is just lucky. Lyra looked at me with red eyes. Rowan, what should I do? My money is not enough to pay for his pen. I touched my pocket. Inside was the part-time wage I had just received. Exactly $500. In the original plot, I would immediately take out the money. Then I would say, "It's okay, Lyra, I have money." After that, she would use my hard-earned money to compensate Kale. Kale would be moved by her stubborn pride. He would think, "She is poor but not humble. She is weak but strong. She is truly different from other girls." Then their cursed romance would begin. I opened my mouth. Lyra looked at me expectantly. I also wanted to know whether I could resist the plot. My tongue felt stiff. My hand slowly moved toward my pocket. Damn it! Was the plot controlling me? At that moment, a cold mechanical voice suddenly sounded in my mind. Ding! Host detected. Disposable supporting character fate detected. Money reversal system activating. I froze. What? The voice continued. Main rule. Every time host refuses financial exploitation from the heroine, host will receive a cash reward. Current event detected. Heroine requests compensation money. Original fate. Host pays for heroine. Correction mission. Refuse payment. Reward $10,000. My hand instantly stopped. 10,000. I looked at Lyra. Then at my pocket. Then back at Lyra. For the first time in my life, I understood the beauty of saying no. Lyra whispered, "Rowan." I took a deep breath. Then I said sincerely, "Lyra, I believe in you." She blinked. What? You broke the pen. You should solve it yourself. Her expression stiffened. I continued, "You are strong. You are independent. You are not the kind of girl who relies on others, right?" Lyra opened her mouth. But no words came out. Ding! Correction successful. Reward issued. My phone vibrated. I quickly took it out. Bank notification. Deposit received, $10,000. I almost knelt down and called the system father. Lyra stared at me strangely. "Rowan, you." I put my phone away and looked at her with gentle encouragement. "Go, Lyra. I believe you can do it." After saying that, I turned and left. My steps were calm. My back was straight. But inside my heart I was screaming. Money. Real money. $10,000. So this was what it felt like to not be a simp. It felt amazing. Chapter 2. When I returned home that night, my mother had already finished cooking. My father was sitting by the table fixing an old electric fan. Our family was not poor enough to starve, but we were definitely not rich. In the original plot, most of our family's money had been swallowed by Lyra. Her tuition, her meals, her hospital bills, her clothes, her phone, her books, her birthday gifts, even her grandmother's medicine. The more I thought about it, the more my blood pressure rose. My mother, Nora, placed a bowl of soup in front of me. Rowan, why did Lyra come today? In the past, Lyra often came to my house for dinner. She ate naturally, as if this was her second home. No, maybe in her heart, this was her free cafeteria. I picked up my spoon and said, maybe she is busy making money. My mother sighed. That child is pitiful too. She broke someone's expensive pen today. Her grandmother said she went out collecting bottles after school. My father frowned. How expensive? $500. My father's hand paused. $500 was not a small amount to our family. Before awakening, I would have immediately said, Dad, Mom, I want to help Lyra. Then my parents would hesitate. Then I would beg. Then they would compromise. Then Lyra would use our money to impress Kale. But now, I lowered my head and drank soup. It has nothing to do with us. My mother froze. My father also looked at me. What did you say? I calmly repeated, she broke it, she should pay for it herself. My mother looked surprised, but also relieved. Rowan, you finally understand. I felt a little sour in my heart. So my parents had always known. They knew I was being used. They just could not bear to hurt me. I put down my spoon. Mom, Dad, I was foolish before. From now on, our family's money is our money. We are not responsible for raising someone else's granddaughter. My mother's eyes reddened. My father coughed and lowered his head. Good. That is good. That night, after returning to my room, I opened my bank app again. The $10,000 was really there. I stared at it for a long time. Then the system spoke. Ding! Beginner reward unlocked. System can automatically identify plot events. Warning, fate will attempt to repair itself. Please survive. I frowned. Please survive. What kind of beginner tutorial was this? The system answered coldly. In the original Fate, host death probability, 100%. Current death probability, 87%. I sat up straight. Still that high. Because key characters have not awakened yet. I felt a chill. Key characters. The system did not answer. At almost the same moment, far away in the city center, inside a luxurious mansion, another person opened his eyes. Kale Voss, the original male lead. His room was bigger than my entire house. He sat up on the bed, breathing heavily. His eyes were full of shock. Then excitement. Because he had also heard a system voice. Ding! Destiny Plunder System activated. Host identity, original male lead. Mission, maintain protagonist authority. Devour supporting character fate. Reward, power, wealth, luck, lifespan. Kale slowly smiled. So that is how it is. He had remembered the plot too. But unlike me, he was not angry about Destiny. He was excited. Because in the original plot, he had everything. The heroine, the family fortune, the happy ending. Even after causing tragedy, Destiny still favored him. Now that he knew everything in advance, how could he possibly let it go? Kale looked at the glowing panel before him. A blood-red name appeared. Primary Fate Resource, Rowan Hale. Kale read my name softly, then laughed. So my happy ending depends on you dying. How interesting. Chapter 3. The next morning, Lyra waited for me outside my house. Her eyes were swollen. Her school uniform was slightly dirty. She looked like she had suffered greatly. In the past, seeing her like this would have made my heart ache. Now I only felt admiration. She was really dedicated to performing. Rowan, she walked beside me. I collected bottles all night. I only earned $8. I nodded. That is already very good. She looked at me. I continued encouraging her. If you keep working hard, you will definitely earn $500 one day. Lyra's step stopped. One day. Yes. I calculated kindly. At this speed, in about 63 nights. Her face turned pale. Rowan, are you joking? I looked innocent. No. Didn't you say you wanted to pay it yourself? Since you have such backbone, of course I support you. Lyra bit her lip. But Kale is rich. What if he makes trouble for me? I almost laughed. Kale did not care about that pen. He cared about the plot. But Lyra did not know that yet. Or maybe she did. Because just as she opened her mouth again, a faint golden light flashed in her eyes. Very faint. Almost impossible to notice. But my system suddenly sounded. Warning. Abnormal fate fluctuation detected. Heroine authority awakening. I stopped walking. Lyra also froze. Her eyes widened. Obviously, she heard something. Ding. Heroine Growth System activated. Host identity, fated heroine. Mission, gather love, pity, resources, and protection from important male characters. Current target, Rowan Hale. Task, obtain financial support from Rowan. Reward, charm +1. Lyra stared at the air before her. Then she looked at me. Her gaze changed. It was subtle. But I noticed. Before, she was only used to taking things from me. Now there was calculation. She suddenly softened her voice. Rowan, I know you are angry with me. But you are the person I trust most. If even you don't help me, I really don't know what to do. My system immediately spoke. Heroine skill detected, emotional dependency. If host gives money, fate correction fails. If host refuses, reward doubles. I became energetic. Double. I sighed heavily. Lyra. Her eyes brightened slightly. I said, actually, I really want to help you. She nodded quickly. I know. But my parents are still paying back the debt from your last hospital bill. Her expression stiffened. That, I interrupted gently. I know you did not mean it. But my dad has been working overtime every night. My mom wakes up early every morning. If I take their money again, am I still human? Lyra's face turned ugly. There were students nearby. Some looked over. I lowered my head, looking sad. I am sorry, Lyra. I am useless. I cannot help you. Ding. Refusal successful. Emotional dependency resisted. Reward $20,000. My phone vibrated again. I nearly lost control of my expression. Lyra stood frozen. The crowd whispered. So Rowan's family paid her hospital bill. Isn't Lyra asking him for money again? His family sounds ordinary too. Lyra's eyes reddened with embarrassment. She rushed away. I watched her back inside. Then I checked my phone. Another 20,000. At this rate, forget surviving. I might become rich before graduation. Chapter 4. Cale found me at noon. He leaned against the hallway window. Tall, handsome, expensive uniform. A watch worth more than my house. In the original story, people called him cold and noble. Now looking at him, I only saw trouble. Rowan Hale. He smiled. We need to talk. I looked around. With me? Yes. He walked closer. His voice lowered. You know, don't you? My heart sank, but my face remained blank. Know what? Cale smiled wider. The story. The air became quiet. My system sounded. Hostile system holder detected. Identity Cale Voss. System Destiny Plunder System. Danger level high. I stared at him. He stared back. Then he said something that made my scalp numb. You should not resist too much. Supporting characters who resist fate usually suffer worse endings. I smiled. Are you threatening me? No. He leaned closer. I am advising you. Your role is very simple. Love Lyra. Spend money on her. Protect her. When necessary, die for me. I looked at him like he was insane. You say that so naturally. Cale shrugged. Because that is how the world works. The male lead gets everything. The female lead gets love. The supporting character gets tragedy. He smiled gracefully. Everyone has their place. I suddenly laughed. Cale frowned. What are you laughing at? I shook my head. I just realized something. In the original story, you may have been the male lead. But after awakening, you are just a villain. His eyes darkened. The system sounded again. Ding. Host has identified corrupted protagonist. New fate correction route unlocked. Route name, overthrow the male lead. Reward multiplier increased. I became calm. Very calm. Cale stared at me coldly. Rowan, I am giving you one chance. Return to the plot. Help Lyra. Then die beautifully. I stepped forward. Then patted his shoulder. Cale, you should wake up. This is not your novel anymore. His face completely darkened. I turned and left. Behind me, his voice was low. You will regret this. I did not look back. No. I already regretted it once. This time, I plan to become expensive. Chapter 5. That afternoon, I met her. Serafina Vale. No relation to me. Although our names sounded similar, our worlds were completely different. She was Cale's childhood friend. His first love. The girl who had loved him quietly for many years. In the original plot, she was a proud but tragic supporting female character. She came from an old family. Beautiful. Intelligent. Calm. She was supposed to protect Cale again and again. But after Cale fell in love with Lyra, Serafina became the jealous Villainess. At least that was what the plot said. But after remembering everything, I no longer trusted the plot's labels. A person abandoned by destiny becomes a villain. A person favored by destiny becomes innocent. How convenient. I first saw Serafina in the library. She was standing near the window, holding a book. Sunlight fell on her silver-gray hair. Her eyes were pale blue, cold like winter. When she saw me, she paused. Then her expression changed. At the same time, my system sounded. Neutral system holder detected. Identity, Serafina Vale. System, Guardian Arbitration System. Danger level, unknown. Another system holder. Before I could react, Serafina walked toward me. Rowan Hale. I nodded cautiously. Yes. She looked at me for several seconds. Then asked, "Are you dying?" I was speechless. What kind of greeting was this? She frowned. There are black chains around your body. Very thick. Very ugly. I immediately understood. You can see fate. She became silent. Then her eyes sharpened. You know about systems. I glanced around. The library was quiet. I lowered my voice. You too. Serafina raised her hand slightly. A silver panel appeared beside her. Only system holders could see it. She said, "My system awakened this morning. It told me to protect someone." My heart moved. Who? She stared at me. You. I was stunned. What? She seemed even more unhappy than me. I also want to ask why. My system says if you die, this city will collapse into a tragedy route. I pointed at myself. Me? Yes. She looked disgusted. Apparently you are important. I did not know whether to thank her or feel offended. Then I asked, what is your relationship with Kale? Her expression changed slightly. After a moment she said, we grew up together. I hesitated. Do you like him? Her fingers tightened around the book. She did not answer. That was already an answer. I sighed. Then I have bad news. Serafina looked at me. I said Kale also awakened. And he wants me dead. Her face instantly turned cold. Chapter 6, I told Serafina everything. The original plot. My role. Lyra's role. Kale's ending. Her ending. When I said she would become a jealous villainess who hurt Lyra, Serafina laughed coldly. I hurt her. I nodded. That is what the plot says. She asked why. Because Kale falls in love with Lyra. Serafina remained silent. After a long while she said, in other words, I lose my mind because a man chooses another woman. I nodded awkwardly. That is the setting. She closed the book with a snap. Insulting. I agreed deeply. Very insulting. The original story made every supporting character lose intelligence for the sake of the main couple. I became a wallet. Serafina became a jealous villainess. Kale became a guilt-ridden lover. Lyra became a pure victim. Everyone existed only to push romance forward. Serafina looked out the window. So Kale knows this too. Yes. And instead of resisting, he wants to use it. Yes. Her eyes became colder. Then he is no longer the Kale I knew. I did not speak. For some reason, seeing her expression made my chest feel heavy. She had liked Kale. Maybe for many years. But her first reaction after hearing the truth was not jealousy. It was disappointment. That was the difference between a real person and a plot puppet. Serafina turned back. What is your plan? Earn money. She paused. What? I said seriously. My system gives me money when I refuse Lyra. Serafina stared at me. How much? Currently 30,000. She was silent. Then she said, your system sounds vulgar. I almost choked. Vulgar. This was clearly the most practical system. What was the use of guardian arbitration? Could it pay rent? Could it buy medicine? Could it move my parents into a safe neighborhood? No. Money could. I said sincerely, Miss Vale, you may not understand poor people. To me, money is divine light. Serafina looked at me for a moment, then suddenly smiled. It was faint, almost invisible, but it made her cold face soften. Fine. Then let divine light save the world. Chapter 7. Lyra changed after awakening her system. Before she relied on habit. Now she relied on calculation. She began appearing in front of me more often. Sometimes with red eyes. Sometimes with injured fingers. Sometimes carrying heavy books. Trying to trigger my sympathy. Unfortunately, every attempt became income. Ding. Heroine attempts pity root. Refusal reward, $3,000. Ding. Heroine attempts childhood memory root. Refusal reward, $5,000. Ding. Heroine attempts public moral pressure root. Refusal reward, $8,000. My bank account grew so fast I began worrying about taxes. But Lyra was not stupid. After failing several times, she changed targets. She went to Kale. This was dangerous. Because Kale wanted exactly that. One afternoon, Serafina and I watched from the rooftop as Lyra stood before Kale near the garden. She lowered her head. Her shoulders trembled. Kale handed her a handkerchief. The scene looked beautiful. Like a painting. But my system immediately issued a warning. Plot repair event detected. Male lead and female lead emotional connection forming. If successful, host fate death probability increases. Serafina's face darkened. Kale is acting. I looked at her. How can you tell? He never uses that handkerchief. What? That handkerchief was embroidered by his mother. He considers it troublesome to carry. Serafina's eyes were cold. If he brought it today, he prepared for this scene. I was speechless. As expected of childhood friends. They knew each other's hypocrisy details. Below, Lyra wiped her tears. Kale smiled gently. I could almost hear the background music. Serafina suddenly said, we need to interrupt. I nodded. How? She looked at me. Use your strength. My strength. Being annoying. I was silent. Was this woman praising me or insulting me? Still, I went downstairs. Just as Kale was about to say something affectionate, I rushed over. Lyra. Both of them turned. I put on a worried expression. I finally found you. Lyra froze. Kale narrowed his eyes. I looked at the handkerchief in Lyra's hand. Then gasped. Kale, how generous. That handkerchief looks expensive. Lyra instinctively looked down. Kale's smile stiffened. I continued loudly, Lyra, you must return it after washing. After all, even a fountain pen had to be compensated. Such a valuable handkerchief cannot be taken advantage of. Nearby students began looking over. Lyra's face turned red. Kale's expression sank. I smiled innocently. Right. The romantic atmosphere shattered completely. Ding. Plot repair event interrupted. Reward $50,000. Wonderful. Being annoying was indeed my strength. Chapter 8. Kale retaliated quickly. The next day, rumors spread through school. They said I was greedy. They said I liked Lyra but refused to help her. They said my family had used kindness to control an orphan girl. They said I was pretending to be poor while secretly hiding money. The rumors were clever. Half true, half false. Very poisonous. If I had been the old Rowan, I would have panicked. Then I would have rushed to Lyra to explain. Then I would have compensated her with more kindness. But now I only felt calm. Because my system gave me a new task. Ding! Reputation attack detected. Correction mission. Publicly reveal financial history. Reward $100,000. I almost laughed out loud. Kale was truly my benefactor. At noon, when the cafeteria was busiest, Lyra walked to my table. Her eyes were red. Rowan, why are people saying these things? I looked at her. You do know. She stiffened. I stood up. My voice was not loud, but enough people could hear. Lyra, since everyone is talking, let us clarify. She suddenly panicked. Rowan, no need, I interrupted. My parents paid your tuition for 10 years. The cafeteria quieted. My family paid your medical bill last winter. $5,000. My father borrowed money for that. My mother worked extra shifts. I paid for your meals, your phone, your books, your clothes, your birthday gifts. Lyra's face turned pale. I looked at her sadly. But now, because I cannot continue paying, I have become greedy. The crowd exploded. What? His family paid that much. Then why is she spreading rumors? Lyra shook her head quickly. No, I did not spread them. I smiled bitterly. I hope not. This sentence was magical. It sounded like trust, but actually planted doubt. Kale stood not far away, watching coldly. I turned slightly and met his eyes, then raised my cup in a silent toast. Thank you, villain. Ding. Reputation correction successful. Reward $100,000. My phone vibrated. At this point, I had one serious question. Could I retire before graduation? Chapter 9. Serafina found me after school. She handed me a folder. What is this? Evidence. I opened it. Inside were screenshots, bank transfers, medical bills, tuition receipts, old messages between my mother and Lyra's grandmother. I was stunned. You investigated. Serafina said calmly, Kale will not stop with rumors. You need proof. I looked at the folder. For a moment, I did not speak. In my previous life, no one had defended me. Not even after death. Everyone only said. Rowan was pitiful. Rowan loved too deeply. Rowan gave willingly. But no one asked whether I should have given. No one helped my parents. No one remembered my family's sacrifices. Now Serafina had quietly prepared evidence for me. I asked softly, why are you helping me this much? She looked away. My system told me to. I stared at her. She added coldly, mostly. I laughed. She frowned. What are you laughing at? Nothing. I held the folder tightly. Thank you. Serafina paused. Then said, you are welcome. Her ears seemed slightly red. But maybe it was sunset. At that moment my system sounded. Ding. Guardian bond established. Ally detected, Serafina Vale. Host death probability reduced to 72%. Still high, but lower. For some reason, I felt safer. Chapter 10. That night, Kale met Lyra in a private room of an expensive restaurant. Lyra looked uneasy. Kale, Rowan has changed. Kale poured tea slowly. Of course he has. Lyra bit her lip. My system keeps telling me to regain his support, but he refuses every time. Kale smiled. Then force him. Lyra froze. How? Create a situation where he must help. Kale's eyes were dark. Rowan is not truly cold. He only learned to protect his money. But if someone's life is at stake, he will act. Lyra hesitated. You mean? Kale leaned back. Your Heroine Growth System feeds on pity and protection. My Destiny Plunder System feeds on fate. If we cooperate, we can return everything to normal. Lyra's eyes flickered. What about Serafina? At the mention of that name, Kale's hand paused. Then he smiled. She is just a childhood friend. Lyra looked at him carefully. But your system said she has a guardian system. Kale's smile disappeared. Yes. That was the only unexpected variable. Serafina. His first love. The woman who was supposed to love him until she became pathetic. But now she stood beside Rowan. Kale felt an uncomfortable emotion. Not love. Not regret. Possession. He did not necessarily want Serafina. But he could not accept Serafina choosing someone else. Especially Rowan. A disposable extra. Kale smiled again. Do not worry. I know her weakness. Lyra asked what weakness. Kale said lightly, me. He believed that. Because in his memory, Serafina had loved him for many years. No matter how cold she acted, her heart was soft toward him. As long as he lowered his head slightly, she would hesitate. As long as she hesitated, he could control her. Unfortunately, Kale did not understand one thing. A woman who loved you before awakening may continue loving you. But a woman who sees your ugliness clearly may bury that love herself. And once someone like Serafina buried love, she would not dig it back up. Chapter 11. The first serious death flag came sooner than expected. Friday night. My mother asked me to buy soy sauce downstairs. Originally, such a simple errand should have been safe. But when I reached the alley behind the convenience store, my system suddenly screamed. Warning! Forced plot event activated. Original fate fragment. Host injured while protecting heroine. Current distortion. Host targeted directly. I stopped instantly. The alley was dark. Too quiet. I turned around and prepared to leave. But two men blocked the exit. Another two walked out from behind the trash bins. My scalp went numb. They held steel pipes. One smiled. Rowan Hale. I sighed. Can I say no? He rushed forward. I turned and ran. Very decisively. What joke? I was a money system holder, not a fighting system holder. But before I could run far, a black car stopped at the alley entrance. The door opened. Serafina stepped out. She wore a long black coat. Her silver-gray hair was tied behind her head. Her expression was colder than moonlight. The thugs froze. I also froze. Why are you here? Serafina looked at me. My system said you were about to die. I was moved. Then she added again. I was less moved. One thug cursed and rushed at her. Serafina raised her hand. A silver shield appeared in the air. Bang! The steel pipe struck the shield and bounced back. The thug screamed. My eyes widened. You can do that, Serafina said. My system gives protection skills. I looked at my own panel. Money. Money. More money. Suddenly, I felt my system was a little weak in combat. But then my system spoke. Ding! Emergency survival investment available. Spend $50,000 to purchase temporary skill, street fighting level 5. I was stunned. So money could buy power. Then why did you not say so earlier? I immediately confirmed. Purchase successful. A warm current entered my body. My muscles moved instinctively. A thug rushed toward me. I dodged sideways and punched his stomach. He collapsed. I stared at my fist. Holy crap! Divine light could also hit people. Serafina glanced at me. Not bad. I coughed. Money is useful. Together, we dealt with the 4 men. No. To be precise, Serafina blocked attacks and I kicked people when they lost balance. Very heroic. Barely. Afterward, police sirens sounded. Serafina had called them before arriving. The thugs were taken away. I stood under the streetlight, still breathing heavily. Serafina looked at the scrape on my arm. Does it hurt? A little. She took out a handkerchief. Then paused. I also paused. Because I suddenly remembered Kale giving Lyra a handkerchief. Serafina seemed to remember too. She frowned, then stuffed the handkerchief into my hand. Wipe it yourself. I smiled. Thank you. She turned her face away. Do not misunderstand. What? I am not gentle. I looked at her serious expression and laughed. Okay. You are very fierce. She seemed satisfied. Ding. Guardian bond deepened. Host death probability reduced to 61%. Good. Being saved by the villain's first love felt unexpectedly nice. Chapter 12. The next morning, Kale came to school with a gloomy face. Obviously, he knew the thugs had failed. Lyra looked at me several times. Her eyes were complicated. Fear, anger, dependence, calculation. Her system probably gave her more missions. During lunch, she came again. Rowan. I looked at my lunchbox. Then at her. What? She lowered her head. I heard you were attacked yesterday. Yes. Are you okay? I am alive. She bit her lip. I was worried about you. I almost asked whether she was worried that I did not die. Then my system sounded. Heroine skill detected, regret aura. Effect, attempts to awaken host's old affection. Correction mission, maintain distance. Reward $30,000. I immediately became cold. Thank you. Anything else? Lyra froze. Rowan, do we have to be like this? I nodded. Yes. Her eyes reddened again. In the past, you would never treat me this way. I put down my chopsticks. In the past, I was stupid. The students nearby became quiet. Lyra looked hurt. Is helping me stupid? I calmly answered, helping someone who appreciates kindness is kindness. Helping someone who treats kindness as debt owed is stupidity. Her face went pale. I continued, Lyra, from now on, do not come to me unless it is important. She clenched her fists. What counts as important? I thought for a moment. If your life is in danger, call the police. She stared at me in disbelief. then turned and ran. Ding! Regret aura resisted. Reward $30,000. I picked up my chopsticks again. The food tasted better. Across the cafeteria, Kale watched me coldly. Serafina sat 2 tables away. She did not look at me. But beside my lunchbox was an extra carton of milk. I looked at it, then looked at her. She calmly turned a page of her book, as if it had nothing to do with her. I smiled and drank the milk. It was sweet. Chapter 13. After the failed alley attack, the system war moved from small tricks to open confrontation. The first battlefield was school ranking. In the original plot, I was supposed to give up my scholarship recommendation to Lyra, because she would cry and say, "Rowan, your grades are good. You can get into university by yourself." But I am different. If my parents were still alive, they would want me to have this chance. Then I would hand it over. Very touching. Very stupid. This time, the recommendation list was announced. My name was first. Lyra was third. Only the first place could receive the full scholarship. That afternoon, Lyra blocked me behind the teaching building. Her eyes were red as expected. "Rowan, can we talk?" I looked at the empty surroundings. "Talk here." She nodded. I silently turned on my phone recording. Useful habit. Lyra took a deep breath. "You know my situation. My grandmother is old. My family has no money. If I can get this scholarship, I can reduce a lot of pressure." I nodded. "Yes." Her eyes brightened. "Then," I said, "work hard next time." Her expression cracked. "Rowan." I looked at her calmly. "What?" "You know what I mean." "I know." "Then why are you pretending not to?" "Because your meaning is unreasonable." Lyra's tears fell. "You really became cold." I sighed. "Lyra, do you know what is interesting?" She looked at me. "You always say others are cold when they stop sacrificing for you. But you never think you are cruel for asking." Lyra froze. The air became tense. Then her eyes flashed gold. My system immediately warned. Heroine Growth System, activating coercion skill. Skill, moral kidnapping. Effect, forces target to feel guilt. A heavy feeling pressed against my chest. For one moment, I actually felt guilty. Was I too harsh? Was she really pitiful? Should I help her? Then another system voice sounded. Not mine. Guardian arbitration system intervening. Silver light flashed. The pressure vanished. Serafina walked out from behind a tree. Her expression was icy. Using system skill to manipulate someone's emotions. How noble. Lyra's face changed. "You." Serafina looked at her. "I wondered whether you were pitiful or malicious. Now I know." Lyra trembled. "You know nothing." Serafina stepped forward. "I know enough. You want his money. His scholarship. His guilt. His life." Lyra shouted, "That is not true." Serafina raised her hand. A silver panel appeared. Arbitration evidence projection. Suddenly, Lyra's words from earlier replayed in the air. Her request. Her implication. Her emotional pressure. All of it. Lyra's face turned white. I was stunned. This system was amazing. Could evidence projection be used in court? Serafina looked at me. "Why are you staring?" I said sincerely, "Your system is not vulgar." She ignored me. Ding. Scholarship fate corrected. Reward $200,000. My phone vibrated. Good. My system was still divine. Chapter 14. Kale finally lost patience. That evening, he invited Serafina to meet at the old music hall. She told me before going. I immediately said, "Do not go." She shook her head. "I have to." "Why?" "To cut something off." I understood. Her past, her feelings, her first love. Even if it was foolish, it still needed an ending. I said, "Then I will go with you." Serafina looked at me. "No." "Why?" "Because he wants to separate us." I smiled. "Then we should do the opposite." She was silent, then said, "Fine." The old music hall was empty. Kale stood on the stage. Moonlight fell through broken windows. He looked like a prince abandoned by the world. Very dramatic. Very male lead. When he saw me walking in with Serafina, his expression darkened. "Sira." His voice was soft. "You brought him." Serafina's face did not change. "Yes." Kale walked down from the stage. "We need to talk alone." "No need." His jaw tightened. "Sira, since when did you become so guarded against me?" Serafina looked at him quietly. "Since you decided another person's death was acceptable." Kale froze, then smiled bitterly. "You misunderstand." I almost clapped. Here it came. The male lead specialty. Pretending to be misunderstood. Kale looked at her affectionately. "I only wanted to protect the world's original order. If fate collapses, everyone may suffer." Serafina asked, "So Rowan should die?" Kale sighed. In the original fate, his death had meaning. I could not help laughing. "Should I thank you for giving my death meaning?" Kale ignored me and continued staring at Serafina. "Sira, you know me. We grew up together. Would I really harm someone for no reason?" Serafina's fingers trembled slightly. I noticed. Kale noticed too. His eyes softened. He stepped closer. "You once said you would always stand by me. You said no matter what happened, you would believe me." Serafina lowered her eyes. For a moment she looked very young. Not like the cold, noble girl. Just like someone hurt by the person she trusted most. Kale reached out. "Sira, come back." I frowned. My system warned. Destiny Plunder System activating. Skill First Love Recall. Effect awakens targets past emotional attachment. Silver light around Serafina flickered. Her face paled. Damn it. He was using their memories as a weapon. I stepped forward. Before Kale's hand could touch her, I grabbed his wrist. "Enough." Kale's eyes turned murderous. "This has nothing to do with you." I smiled. "Really? Your system targets me. Your schemes target me. Your heroine targets me. Now you are trying to manipulate my ally. How is it not my business?" Kale said coldly, "Your ally." His gaze moved between us. Then he laughed. "Sira, is this why? You betrayed me because of him." Serafina lifted her head. Her eyes were red but clear. "No. I left because of you." Kale froze. Serafina continued, each word calm. "I liked the boy who once shared his umbrella with me. I liked the boy who saved an injured bird, even though he dirtied his clothes. I liked the boy who said power should protect people." Her voice became colder. "But you are not him. You know Rowan will die. You know his parents will suffer. You know Lyra is using him. And your choice is to push him back into hell. So Kale, she looked at him for the last time. The person I liked is already dead. The music hall became silent. Kale's face twisted. For the first time, his elegant mask cracked completely. You will regret this. Serafina replied lightly. No, I already did. She turned around. Let's go, Rowan. I followed her. But before leaving, I looked back at Kale. He stood alone under the moonlight, like a rejected protagonist. No, like a villain born from entitlement. My system sounded. Ding. First love chain severed. Destiny Plunder System damaged. Reward $500,000. My phone vibrated violently. I nearly slipped. 500,000. Serafina glanced at me. What happened? I said seriously, your heartbreak is very valuable. She kicked me. Not hard, but deserved. Chapter 15. After that night, Kale stopped pretending. Lyra also stopped pretending. Two hostile system holders joined forces fully. My peaceful money-making days ended. The next week, accidents happened constantly. A flower pot fell from upstairs. A car rushed through a red light. A fake loan shark appeared at my house. Someone tried to frame my father at work. Someone reported my mother for tax issues at her small shop. Every time, Serafina and I barely blocked it. Every time, my system paid rewards. But danger kept increasing. My bank account grew. My death probability also rose and fell like a stock chart. One night I sat in my room, exhausted. My system displayed current assets, $1,240,000. Current death probability, 58%. I stared at the numbers. System. Yes. Can money buy complete safety? No. Then what can? Destroy hostile systems. I became silent. How? System battle. At the same time, Serafina sent me a message. Serafina, my system says the same thing. Rowan, destroy hostile systems. Serafina, yes. Rowan, how? Serafina, it says we need to enter the Fate Core. Rowan, what is that? Serafina, the place where the original plot is stored. I looked at the message. Then at the window. Outside, the city lights flickered. Somewhere in this city, Kale and Lyra were probably preparing too. I typed slowly. Rowan, if we fail. Serafina replied after a long time. Serafina, we become what the plot wants us to be. I understood. I would become the tragic wallet again. She would become the jealous villainess. My parents would die. She would lose herself. Kale and Lyra would get their grand romance. I closed my eyes. Then replied. Rowan, then we cannot fail. Chapter 16. The entrance to the Fate Core appeared during the school festival. Of course. Important events always happen during school festivals. In the original plot, this was where Lyra and Kale had their first official romantic scene. Fireworks. Crowd. Confession. Almost kiss. And I was supposed to watch from the side, smiling sadly. Then go home and work overnight to buy Lyra a gift. Very pathetic. This time, the entire campus was covered in system energy. Ordinary students laughed and walked between stalls, completely unaware. But in our eyes, golden and black threads floated everywhere. Fate threads. Plot roots. Character labels. Some students had words above their heads. Classmate A. Jealous girl. Helpful teacher. Background crowd. I felt sick. So this was how the world saw us. Not people. Only roles. Serafina stood beside me. Above her head, faint words appeared. Villainous candidate. Her face went cold. Above my head, words flickered. Disposable supporting character. I laughed angrily. Really ugly. Serafina raised her hand. Silver light cut through the words above her. I spent $10,000 through my system and bought a fate-severing blade. Then cut mine too. The label shattered. Ding. Roll label destroyed. Reward $1 million. My hand trembled. Even at such a tense moment, I had to admit. Money really helped my mood. Suddenly, fireworks exploded overhead. The crowd cheered. At the center of the sports field, Kale and Lyra stood together. Golden light surrounded Lyra. Black gold light surrounded Kale. Their systems appeared openly. Heroine Growth System. Destiny Plunder System. Kale looked at us across the crowd. Then smiled. His voice sounded directly in my mind. Rowan. Come. The final plot has begun. The ground beneath us cracked. No ordinary person noticed. But the four of us fell at the same time. Down. 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 Into a space made of pages, ink, and broken memories. The Fate Core. Chapter 17. The Fate Core looked like a library with no end. Books floated in the air. Each book was a possible route. Some showed my death. Some showed Serafina going insane. Some showed Lyra crying beautifully. Some showed Kale kneeling in regret. No matter the route, the ending was always the same. The male lead and female lead survived. Everyone else became supporting material. Kale stood on a staircase made of golden pages. Lyra stood beside him. Her eyes were brighter than before. Her system had changed. Heroine Growth System upgraded. Current form, main character authority. Serafina whispered, "Be careful." I nodded. My own system appeared beside me as a silver-blue panel. Money Reversal System. It looked very plain compared to theirs. Honestly, a little embarrassing. Kale laughed. Rowan, look around. This is the truth. This world was written for us. I looked at the countless books. Then why am I still standing here? His smile faded. I continued. If the world truly belonged to you, I would have died already. Serafina stepped forward. And I would still love you. Kale's expression became ugly. Lyra looked at me. Rowan, it does not have to be like this. I almost admired her persistence. Even here, she still wanted to act pitiful. She reached out. If you come back, I can forgive you. I was speechless. You forgive me. She nodded with tears in her eyes. I know you were confused by Serafina. But we grew up together. You are the person who treated me best. As long as you help me one last time, I interrupted, there it is. Lyra froze. What? One last time? I laughed. You have said that phrase since we were children. Help me one last time with lunch. Help me one last time with tuition. Help me one last time with medicine. Help me one last time with gifts. Help me one last time with my life. My voice turned cold. Lyra, your last time never ends. Her face twisted. The golden light around her burst outward. Why are you doing this to me? I am the heroine. The world should love me. Her system screamed. Main character authority activating. Command supporting character submission. An overwhelming pressure fell on me. My knees bent. The books around us flipped wildly. Scenes of the original plot rushed into my mind. Me giving money. Me smiling bitterly. Me watching Lyra love Kale. Me donating my eye. Me dying in an alley. Me becoming a memory. The plot tried to stuff me back into my role. My bones creaked. Blood filled my mouth. Serafina rushed toward me, but Kale blocked her. Black gold chains wrapped around her wrists. Sira. Kale's voice was gentle and cruel. Watch carefully. This is his fate. Serafina struggled. Rowan. I heard her, but I could not move. Lyra walked toward me slowly. Her eyes were full of tears, but also excitement. Rowan, I knew it. You still care about me. You will help me. You have to. My system flickered violently. Warning. Host role regression detected. System suppression, 70%. Assets frozen. Correction authority weakening. Was this the end? Was money useless before main character authority? I lowered my head. My fingers touched the ground. Pages beneath me showed my original death. I saw myself lying in blood. I saw Lyra crying. I saw Kale holding her. I saw my parents receiving the news. I saw my mother collapse. Something in my chest burned. No. Absolutely not. If I had been alone, maybe I would have been afraid. But I was not alone. Someone had rushed into an alley to save me. Someone had prepared evidence for me. Someone had cut off her first love and stood beside me. Someone called my life important. I slowly raised my head. Lyra stopped. Kale frowned. Serafina looked at me with red eyes. I smiled at her, then said to my system, use all my money. The system paused. Confirm. Current assets, $2,870,000. Full asset burn will unlock temporary authority. After use, balance may return to zero. I laughed. Money is meant to be spent while alive. Confirm. Ding. Full asset burn confirmed. Money reversal system entering combat mode. Authority unlocked. Name worth of a life. The entire Fate core trembled. Silver blue light exploded from my body. The pressure shattered. I stood up. Lyra stepped back in disbelief. What? Kale's eyes widened. How can your vulgar money system have authority? I wiped blood from my mouth. Because every dollar was proof. I stepped forward. Proof that I refused exploitation. Proof that I corrected fate. Proof that my life has value. Silver blue flames wrapped around my hands. My system does not buy destiny. It invoices destiny. Serafina stared at me. Even in that situation, she looked like she wanted to laugh. Kale's face twisted. Kill him. Lyra screamed. Golden plot threads flew toward me like spears. Kale's black gold chains followed. Serafina broke free at the same time. Her guardian arbitration system expanded behind her into a huge silver scale. Guardian arbitration system, final authority. Judgment field. The silver scale descended. One side showed their fate. One side showed ours. Kale roared Sira. Serafina did not look at him. She looked only at me. Rowan. Win. I smiled. Of course. Then the four systems collided. The epic battle between systems had truly begun. Chapter 18. The first thing I learned was this. A system battle was not like two people throwing punches. It was not even like magic. It was more unreasonable than that. Because systems did not attack the body first. They attacked your role, your meaning, your past, your future, your right to stand where you were standing. The moment the four systems collided, the endless library of the Fate Core shattered into pieces. Books exploded. Pages flew everywhere. Ink turned into black rain. Golden words crawled through the air like living worms. Above Kale's head, the words appeared again. Male lead. Above Lyra's head. Female lead. Above Seraphina's head. Rejected first love. Above mine. Disposable supporting character. I raised my hand and slashed. Silver blue fire cut through the words. The title above my head cracked. But it healed again almost instantly. Kale laughed. Do you understand now? This is not a simple label. This is world authority. He lifted one hand. Black gold chains shot out from the broken books and wrapped around my arms. Destiny Plunder System activating. Skill supporting character extraction. Extracting sacrifice value. A sharp pain tore through my chest. It felt as if something invisible was being pulled out. My luck. My future. My lifespan. My value. Everything that made me me was being dragged toward Kale. I gritted my teeth. System. Ding. Asset burn active. Temporary authority, worth of a life. Countermeasure available. Spend remaining authority value to reject extraction. How much? 30%. I almost cursed. 30% just to block one move. Kale smiled as if he could see my hesitation. Rowan, your system is still too weak. Money is only money. Destiny is above money. I looked at him, then laughed. Kale frowned. What are you laughing at? I said, you rich people really like saying money is only money. Then I confirmed. Spend it. Ding. 30% authority value consumed. Invoice issued to Destiny Plunder System. Reason, illegal extraction of personal fate. Penalty, triple return. The black gold chains around me suddenly turned silver blue. Kale's expression changed. What? The chains reversed direction. They shot back toward him. Kale raised his hand quickly, but it was too late. Bang! He was thrown backward into a staircase of pages. The staircase collapsed. Black gold light burst from his chest. At the same time, numbers appeared above him. -300 fate points. I stared. Then I understood. My system was not stronger than his. But it had one disgusting ability. If someone tried to take from me unfairly, it could charge them. With interest. Very high interest. Truly beautiful. Lyra screamed Kale. She raised both hands. Golden light spread from her body. Main character authority activating. Skill audience sympathy. The endless pages around us flipped open. Suddenly countless shadowy figures appeared. Classmates. Teachers. Neighbors. Strangers. Readers. They all looked at me. Their faces were blurry. Their voices overlapped. How can you treat Lyra like that? She is so pitiful. Rowan is too cold. She lost her parents. You helped before, why stop now? You clearly like her. Just help her one more time. Men should be generous. She is the heroine. You are only a supporting character. The voices drilled into my head. My chest became heavy. My arms felt weak. For one moment, I almost lowered my weapon. Then Serafina stepped in front of me. Silver light unfolded behind her like wings. No, not wings. Scales. A giant silver scale hung above the fate core. Guardian arbitration system activating. Skill evidence against sympathy. Her voice was cold. Then let us see what your pity is built on. The shadows froze. One by one, images appeared in the air. My father borrowing money. My mother counting coins under a dim lamp. Me working in a convenience store until midnight. Lyra eating at my house without saying thank you. Lyra selling gifts I bought her. Lyra telling others I was too sensitive when I asked for money back. Lyra crying in front of people, but sending messages demanding help in private. The shadows fell silent. Serafina looked at them. You pity her because you only saw her tears. You condemned him because you never saw his blood. Her silver eyes lifted. Now you have seen both. The shadowy audience began to crack. Lyra's face turned extremely ugly. No, no, she shouted, those things were not my fault. I was poor. I had no choice. I looked at her through the silver light. You always had a choice. You just preferred choices that cost other people. Lyra's system screamed. Audience sympathy failed. Heroine authority damaged. Golden light shattered around her. Kale crawled out from the ruins of the page staircase. His face was no longer elegant. His eyes were full of hatred. Serafina, you really want to help him destroy me? Serafina looked at him quietly. Kale, even now, you still think this is about you. Her words were calm, but Kale's expression twisted. That sentence seemed to hurt him more than any attack. Because to Kale, everything should be about him. The story, the heroine, the first love, the supporting character, even rebellion. He could not accept being irrelevant. Chapter 19, the fate core changed again. The shattered library folded inward. The ground beneath us became a long street. A familiar street. My old neighborhood. The sky was dark. Rain poured down. At the end of the street stood my house. Lights were on. My mother was cooking. My father was repairing the fan. I froze. Serafina immediately noticed. Rowan. I did not answer. Because I knew this scene. This was the night from the original plot. The night I died. The night Kale called for help. The night Lyra left her phone at my house. The night I rushed into the alley. The night a knife entered my body. The night everything ended for me. Kale stood in the rain and smiled. Since you refuse to accept your role, let us revisit it. Destiny Plunder System activating. Skill, original death reconstruction. The street trembled. Figures appeared in the rain. Lyra walking out of my house. Her phone left behind on the shoe cabinet. Kale being chased by thugs. A ringing phone. My past self answering. Then running out without hesitation. I watched the scene like an outsider. But my body felt cold. Because even after awakening, even after earning millions, even after fighting systems, seeing my death still made me afraid. Not afraid of pain. Afraid of waste. Afraid my parents would cry again. afraid everything would return to the original ending. Lyra's voice came softly. Rowan. She walked toward me through the rain. Her expression had changed. Not arrogant. Not hysterical. Gentle. Like the childhood friend I once loved. Actually, you cannot let go. I knew it was a system skill. But my heart still tightened. She said, you liked me for so many years. You protected me for so many years. Was all of that fake? I clenched my fists. She stepped closer. If you really hated me, why did you care when I cried? If you really wanted to abandon me, why did you hesitate every time? Rowan admitted. You still care. Golden threads wrapped around my ankles. Heroine authority activating. Skill old affection binding. My memories started playing. Lyra as a child sharing half a piece of candy with me. Lyra standing behind me when older boys bullied me. Lyra smiling at me under spring sunlight. Lyra calling me the person she trusted most. Those memories were real. That was the cruelest part. She was not always bad. If she had been evil from the beginning, cutting her off would have been easy. But people were not so simple. The girl I once liked existed. She just became someone who used that affection as a rope. The golden threads tightened. Lyra lifted her hand. Come back. Help me one last time. Behind her, the scene of my death repeated. Past me ran toward the alley. Blood splashed. My mother screamed far away. My father's hair turned white overnight. My breathing became unstable. Then a hand held mine. Warm. Firm. I turned. Serafina stood beside me. Rain fell through her silver hair. Her face was pale, but her eyes were steady. She did not say, do not go. She did not say, forget her. She only said, Rowan, look carefully. I looked at her. She pointed at the memory. Do you see yourself? I turned back. Past me was lying in blood. His face was young. Too young. Too stupid. Too sincere. Serafina said softly, he did not die because he loved. He died because they taught him his life was worth less than their story. My chest shook. Serafina's grip tightened. But you are here now. So tell him. Tell that version of you what he should have heard. The rain became quiet. I looked at my past self. The golden threads around my body trembled. Lyra's expression changed. Rowan, do not listen to her. I ignored her. I walked toward my dying self. Kale frowned. What are you doing? I knelt beside the memory. Past me looked at me with unfocused eyes. Of course he was not real. He was only a reconstruction. But I still spoke. You did enough. His eyes trembled. I continued, you were not selfish. You were not useless. You did not owe anyone your life. The golden threads began to break. Lyra screamed, stop. I placed my hand on my past self's chest. You can rest. This time I will live for us. The memory shattered. The rain stopped. The street cracked open. Lyra staggered backward as if slapped. Old affection binding failed. Heroine authority severely damaged. I stood up slowly. My system rang. Ding! Original death reconstruction survived. Authority, worth of a life strengthened. Reward restored, $1,500,000. I looked at Lyra. For the first time, there was no hatred in my heart. Only distance. Very far distance. Lyra. She looked at me with red eyes. I said, the person who loved you died in that alley. This time, I am only the person who remembers him. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. Chapter 20, Kale attacks Seraphina next. Because villains were like that. When they could not break you, they attacked the person beside you. The destroyed street turned into a garden. A grand garden behind the Voss mansion. Flowers bloomed under an artificial sun. A young boy and a young girl sat beside a fountain. The boy was Kale. The girl was Seraphina. They were children. Little Kale held a wounded bird. Little Seraphina stood beside him, holding a handkerchief. Kale's voice echoed. Sira, do you remember? Seraphina's face became still. Kale stepped forward. This was the first time you said I was kind. The garden shifted. Another memory. Teenage Kale holding an umbrella over Seraphina during a storm. Another. Kale playing piano while Seraphina turned pages. Another. Kale standing before her at a banquet saying, if everyone leaves, you will still stand beside me, right? Young Seraphina answered, yes. The adult Seraphina closed her eyes. Kale's expression softened, but his eyes were cruel. You loved me. You still love me. Seraphina did not speak. I felt the air thicken. Destiny Plunder System activating. Skill First Love Dominion. Effect converts old emotional bond into obedience. Black gold chains rose from every memory. They wrapped around Seraphina's wrists, her ankles, her throat. My expression changed. I rushed forward, but Lyra blocked me. Golden light gathered in her hand. Rowan, do not interfere. I looked at her. Move. She bit her lip. If Seraphina returns to Kale, everything can still go back. I laughed. Go back? To what? To you taking my money while loving him. To him using her while chasing you. To me dying. To her becoming a villainess. Lyra's face twisted. That was the plot. No. I stepped forward. That was convenient cruelty. Lyra released golden threads toward me. I burned them with silver blue fire. On the other side, Seraphina struggled. Kale walked closer to her. His voice was extremely gentle. Sira, you are tired. You were never meant to protect him. You were meant to love me. Seraphina's face was pale. The chains tightened. Her system flickered. Guardian arbitration system under emotional authority attack. Risk of role regression, 40%. Kale smiled. Come back. Be my Sira again. For a moment, Seraphina's eyes lost focus. I felt panic grip my throat. Seraphina. She did not respond. Kale reached out and touched her cheek. I exploded. I did not know what skill I used. I only knew I wanted to tear those chains apart. My system responded. Ding. Emergency expenditure. Spend $800,000 to purchase skill. Debt collection strike. I confirmed instantly. Silver blue fire condensed around my fist. I punched through Lyra's golden barrier. Crack. Her barrier shattered. Lyra was thrown back. I rushed to Seraphina and struck the chains. Bang! The first chain broke. Then the second. Kale turned sharply. You! I ignored him. I grabbed Seraphina's shoulders. Wake up! Her eyes were still cloudy. I clenched my teeth. Then said the only thing I could think of. Seraphina Vale. You told me your system was not vulgar. Her lashes trembled. I continued quickly. You told me I was annoying. You gave me milk and pretended it was not you. You kicked me when I said your heartbreak was valuable. You said you were not gentle. My voice shook slightly. But you were the first person who told me my life mattered. So do not let him decide who you are. The black gold chains trembled. Kale's face darkened. Rowan, shut up. I looked into Seraphina's eyes. You are not his first love. You are not a rejected villainess. You are Seraphina. You can choose. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Seraphina blinked. Her pale blue eyes cleared. She looked at me. Then at Kale. Then at the chains. Her expression became colder than I had ever seen. Kale. His face stiffened. She raised her hand. Silver scales appeared behind her. You used our memories as shackles. Her voice was calm. Too calm. That was dangerous. You turned my love into a command. The chains around her began to freeze. I thought I had already buried that feeling. She looked at him. But apparently I left the corpse too shallow. Crack. All the chains shattered. Guardian arbitration system awakened. Final authority unlocked. Authority name, free will judgment. The entire garden turned silver. Kale stepped back. For the first time, real fear appeared in his eyes. Seraphina lifted her hand. A silver sword appeared. Not a physical sword. A judgment. She swung it once. The childhood memory split in half. The garden collapsed. Kale screamed. A glowing title above him cracked. Male lead. The first crack appeared. Chapter 21. The Fate Core became unstable after Kale's title cracked. The endless world of pages shook violently. Lyra crawled up from the ground. Blood dripped from the corner of her mouth. Her golden light flickered. She stared at Kale's cracked title in disbelief. No. If the male lead falls, what happens to me? Kale's expression turned ugly. That was the truth. Lyra did not love Kale as purely as the plot claimed. She loved what Kale represented. Protection. Wealth. Status. Victory. If Kale lost protagonist authority, then to her he was no longer a savior. He was just another dangerous man. Kale noticed her hesitation. His eyes darkened. Lyra. She trembled. He held out his hand. Come here. Lyra hesitated. Then her system spoke loudly. Warning. Male lead authority damaged. Recommended action. Merge systems to preserve protagonist root. Lyra froze. Merge. Kale smiled slowly. Yes. If we merge, no one can defeat us. Lyra looked uneasy. What happens after merging? Kale's smile was gentle. We become one destiny. That sounded romantic. But Seraphina's system immediately displayed another translation. Detected hidden effect. Destiny Plunder System will devour Heroine Growth System during merge. Lyra Snow will become subordinate personality. I almost laughed. As expected, a villain who could sacrifice others would eventually sacrifice his own heroine too. I looked at Lyra. Did you hear that? Her face was pale. Kale's voice became stern. Do not listen to him. He is trying to divide us. Lyra stepped back. For the first time, she looked truly afraid. Kale, you said we were partners. Kale's eyes became impatient. You want to win, don't you? You want everyone to love you. You want Rowan to regret abandoning you. You want Serafina to kneel. You want to become the true heroine. He walked toward her. Then pay the price. Lyra shook her head. No. Kale's expression went cold. Too late. Black gold chains shot out and pierced Lyra's golden system panel. Lyra screamed. Destiny Plunder System activating forced merge. Heroine Growth System resisting. Golden light exploded. Lyra reached toward me instinctively. Rowan. I stood still. Her eyes widened with panic. Save me. That phrase. Again. Always me. Always save me. Always help me. Always give me something. I looked at her. This time I did not feel the old pull. Only tiredness. Call your male lead. Her face collapsed. Kale laughed. Cruel. I replied no. I am just not hers anymore. Lyra screamed as her system cracked. But just before Kale could fully devour it, Serafina raised her silver sword. Rowan. I understood. We did not save Lyra because she deserved us. We stopped Kale because if he succeeded, he would become more dangerous. I raised my hand. Silver blue fire gathered. Serafina attacked the chains. I attacked the connection. Lyra's golden system panel broke free and flew backward. She collapsed to the ground, shaking. Kale's forced merge failed. But the failure did not weaken him. It made him furious. The cracked title above his head bled black light. Male lead began twisting. The words changed. Corrupted male lead. Then changed again. Destiny villain. The fate core trembled. Kale slowly lifted his head. His eyes were completely black gold. So be it. If I cannot be the male lead, I will become the final villain. The pages around us burned. Countless bad endings emerged. My death. Serafina's madness. Lyra's enslavement. My parents' funeral. The city in ruins. Kale standing above everything. His system roared. Destiny Plunder System evolving. Final form, world-devouring script. A giant black book opened behind him. Its pages were empty. Kale smiled. I will write the ending myself. Chapter 22, the final battle began with one sentence. Kale raised his hand and wrote in the air. Rowan Hale loses all wealth. My system screamed. Ding! External script interference detected. Assets under attack. The silver blue fire around me flickered. My chest tightened. My bank balance appeared before me. Numbers dropped. 2,870,000. 2 million. 1,200,000. 500,000. Serafina immediately raised her sword. Judgment field. Silver scales descended, trying to block the script. But Kale wrote again. Serafina Veil cannot interfere. Black ink wrapped around her body. She froze mid-step. I reached toward her. Serafina. Kale smiled. Then wrote the third sentence. Rowan Hale kneels. A mountain-like pressure fell. My knees bent. The ground cracked beneath me. Kale walked closer. You see, this is the difference between us. You need rewards. You need correction. You need proof. He pointed at himself. I only need authority. My balance hit 0. The silver blue fire vanished. My system went silent. For the first time since awakening, I felt empty. No money. No authority. No protection. Only myself. Kale stopped before me. Now supporting character. Kneel. The pressure increased. My knees almost touched the ground. Serafina struggled violently against the black ink. Her eyes were red. Rowan. I heard her, but I could not move. Kale lowered his voice. You should have accepted your fate. At least then, your suffering would have been meaningful. I spat blood and laughed. Kale frowned. What now? I raised my head with difficulty. You still do not understand. What? My money was never the reason I resisted. I slowly forced one knee upward. My system paid me because I resisted. Not the other way around. The fate core shook. Kale's expression changed. Impossible. My system was silent. My assets were gone. But the silver blue light returned. Not from the system. From me. Small. Weak. But real. Ding. A broken sound rang in the air. Money reversal system rebooting. Asset value 0. Host willpower value immeasurable. Hidden condition met. System evolution available. I grinned. Now you speak. Ding. Money reversal system evolving. Previous authority, worth of a life. New authority, life beyond price. Silver blue light exploded from my body. Kale's script burned. The sentence Rowan Hale Neal's shattered. I stood up. Not because I was rich. Not because the system rewarded me. Because my life was valuable before any money existed. The system had finally understood that. Or maybe I had. Kale stepped back. No. I looked at him. Yes. Serafina broke free at the same moment. Her silver sword cut through the ink. She landed beside me, breathing hard. Her hand found mine. This time, neither of us let go. Our systems rang together. Life beyond price. Free will judgment. Combined authority detected. Joint skill unlocked. Name unwritten ending. The silver blue fire and silver judgment light merged. The fate core stopped shaking. All pages froze. All scripts paused. Even Kale's black book trembled. Serafina looked at me. Ready. I looked at her pale face, her bloodied sleeve, her steady eyes. For some reason I smiled. Miss Vale. What? You are very heroic. She paused. Then said, you are still annoying. Good. Do not chain. We raised our hands together. Kale roared and opened the black book fully. Thousands of sentences flew out. Rowan dies. Serafina betrays him. Lyra becomes heroine. Kale wins. The plot cannot be changed. The supporting character must sacrifice. The first love must be abandoned. The villainess must fall. The words rushed toward us like a storm. Serafina's silver scale appeared above. My silver blue fire rose below. Together they formed one blade. Not a sword. Not a number. Not a role. A choice. We swung it. Rejected. The storm split apart. Every sentence burned. Kale screamed. His black book cracked down the middle. World-devouring script damaged. Destiny villain authority collapsing. Kale fell to one knee. For the first time, he was the one kneeling. The title above his head shattered. No more male lead. No more villain. Only Kale Voss. A person. Nothing more. Lyra stared at him from the ground, then at me, then at Serafina. Her golden title also cracked. Female lead shattered. Only Lyra Snow. She seemed lost, as if without the title, she did not know who she was. Maybe that was her punishment. Maybe that was her chance. I did not care enough to decide. Chapter 23. When the Fate Core began collapsing, I thought we were done. But systems were truly annoying. Just as Kale's system cracked, a final message appeared. Final plot protection activated. If protagonist root collapses, Fate Core will reset world. Serafina's face changed. Reset. My system answered. All memories erased. Original plot restored. All corrections cancelled. I cursed. Of course. The plot had a last insurance policy. The entire Fate Core turned red. Books began flying back into place. Broken titles repaired themselves. The label above me started reforming. Disposable supporting character. No. Absolutely not. Kale, lying on the ground, suddenly laughed. Blood covered his face. But he laughed harder and harder. You see, you still cannot win. Even if I lose, the story resets. Everything returns. Rowan, you will still die. Serafina gripped her sword. There must be a way. My system was silent for 1 second. Then, there is one method. I immediately had a bad feeling. What method? Destroy Fate Core permanently. How? Someone must enter the origin page and rewrite the role foundation. Serafina asked risk. The person entering may be erased from all roots. I said instantly, I'll go. Serafina turned to me. No. I looked at her. This started with me. No. Her voice was sharp. This started with a world that treated people as tools. I smiled bitterly. Serafina, she stepped closer. If you disappear, your parents lose you. If I disappear, her voice paused. I understood what she did not say. Her family was cold. Kale had betrayed her. In her mind, maybe fewer people would miss her. Anger rose in my chest. I grabbed her wrist. Do not finish that sentence. She froze. I stared at her. You are not less important because fewer people know how to love you. Her eyes trembled. The collapsing Fate Core roared around us. I continued, you saved me. In the alley. In the school. In my old death. From Lyra. From Kale. From myself. My voice became hoarse. So do not stand here and tell me your disappearance would matter less. Serafina looked at me for a long time. Then she whispered, then what do we do? I held her hand tighter. We go together. The systems responded immediately. Joint entry possible. Risk shared. Success probability, 43%. Serafina asked failure. Both erased. I laughed. 43 is not bad. She looked at me like I was insane. For you, maybe. Miss Vale, I once had 87% death probability. So 43% success feels optimistic. She stared, then laughed softly. It was the first real laugh I had heard from her. Very light. Very beautiful. Fine. Let us be optimistic. Kale shouted behind us. You are insane. I looked back. He was crawling toward us. Without authority, he looked pathetic. Just a boy who could not accept losing. You would risk erasure for him. he shouted at Serafina. Serafina looked at him. No. I risk it for myself. Then she turned away. Not cruelly. Not angrily. Simply done. That hurt Kale more than hatred. Lyra suddenly spoke. Rowan, I looked at her. She was kneeling among broken golden pages. Her face was pale. For once, she did not ask me to save her. She only asked, if the world resets, will I become like before? I answered honestly, yes. Her fingers trembled. She lowered her head. After a while she whispered, then destroy it. I was surprised. Lyra laughed bitterly. Do not look at me like that. I am selfish. I know. But she looked at the broken title pieces around her. I do not want to be controlled either. For the first time, I saw something human in her. Too late. But real. I nodded. Then Serafina and I stepped into the origin page. Chapter 24, the origin page was blank. Completely white. No sky. No ground. No sound. Only 4 sentences floated in the air. The female lead shall be loved. The male lead shall be forgiven. The first love shall be abandoned. The supporting character shall sacrifice. I looked at the sentences. Serafina stood beside me. Her face was expressionless, but her hand was cold. I held it tighter. So this is the foundation. She nodded. Ugly. I agreed. Very ugly. My system appeared before me. No longer just a panel. It looked like a balance sheet written in light. Serafina's system appeared as a silver scale. Both systems spoke together. Rewrite conditions. 1. Deny assigned roles. 2. Declare self-chosen identity. 3. Offer equal value. I frowned. Equal value. To rewrite fate, something must be paid. Serafina asked what? The privileges gained from systems. I understood. Money. Skills. Authority. Protection. Everything. If we succeeded, maybe my system would disappear. Maybe I would go back to being ordinary. No more rewards. No more sudden wealth. No more cheat. I should have hesitated. After all, I loved money. Sincerely. Deeply. Respectfully. But looking at those 4 sentences, I suddenly felt calm. The system had given me money so I could survive. But I did not want to live forever as someone who needed payment to say no. I looked at Serafina. She also looked calm. You are not worried? I asked. She shook her head. My system taught me to protect. But I should not need a system to know people are not tools. I smiled. Very noble. She looked at me. You. I said honestly, I will miss the money. She laughed. I know. But I would rather be poor and free than rich inside a script. Serafina nodded. Then let us pay. The 4 sentences glowed. The first sentence came forward. The female lead shall be loved. Lyra's memories appeared. Her childhood loneliness. Her hunger. Her fear. Her greed. Her tears. I said, Lyra Snow is not owed love by the world. Serafina continued, but she may learn to love and be loved as a person. The sentence cracked. The second sentence came forward. The male lead shall be forgiven. Kale's memories appeared. Pressure from his family. Loneliness in luxury. His desire to control everything. His fear of being ordinary. Seraphina's eyes trembled slightly, but her voice stayed firm. Kale Voss is not owed forgiveness because he was important. I added, if he wants forgiveness, he can earn it like anyone else. The sentence shattered. The third sentence came forward. The first love shall be abandoned. Memories of Seraphina appeared. Waiting, watching, being ignored, being twisted into jealousy, being reduced to someone else's regret. I looked at her. This one belonged to her. Seraphina took a breath, then said, Seraphina Vale is not a first love. She is not a rejected woman. She is not a villainess waiting to happen. Her voice grew stronger. I am myself. I choose who I protect. I choose who I love. I choose when to leave. The sentence shattered into silver dust. Finally, the fourth sentence came. The supporting character shall sacrifice. My memories appeared. Working, paying, smiling, bleeding, dying, my parents crying, my grave, my forgotten name. I stared at it for a long time. Then I said, Rowan Hale is not a wallet, not a stepping stone, not a tragedy trigger, not proof of someone else's love. The sentence trembled. I continued, each word clear. My kindness belongs to me. My money belongs to me. My body belongs to me. My life belongs to me. Seraphina held my hand. I finished softly. And I choose to live. The fourth sentence shattered. The origin page became blank again. Then new words slowly appeared. Not 4 sentences. Only one. No one is born to be another person's plot. The light exploded. Our systems dissolved. My money rewards. My purchase skills. Seraphina's judgment soared. The silver scale. The panels. Everything became light. For one terrifying second, I thought we were disappearing too. Then Seraphina's hand slipped from mine. I reached for her. Seraphina. White swallowed everything. Chapter 25. I woke up in the school infirmary. For a moment, I thought everything had reset. Then I heard my mother's voice. Rowan. She rushed to my bedside. My father stood behind her, face pale with worry. I blinked. Mom. She grabbed my hand. You scared me to death. They said you fainted during the school festival. My father frowned. Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere? I looked at them. Alive. Healthy. Here. My throat tightened. I am fine. My mother's eyes reddened. You call this fine? I smiled. Really smiled. Yes. I am fine. Then I remembered. Seraphina. I sat up quickly. Where is Seraphina? My parents looked confused. Before they could answer, the infirmary door opened. Seraphina stood there. Her silver-gray hair was slightly messy. There was a bandage on her forehead. Her face was pale. But she was alive. I exhaled so hard I almost collapsed again. She looked at me, then at my parents, then said politely, Uncle, Auntie. My mother's eyes immediately changed. Oh, you are the girl who brought Rowan here. Seraphina paused. Yes. My mother grabbed her hand. Thank you so much. Seraphina looked uncomfortable. It was nothing. I raised an eyebrow. Nothing. Miss Vale, we just destroyed fate together. But of course, ordinary people did not remember. Maybe they never knew. After my parents left to speak with the doctor, Serafina walked to my bed. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I asked carefully, "Do you remember?" She looked at me. "Unfortunately." I laughed. She sat beside the bed. "Our systems are gone." I looked inward. No panel. No voice. Nothing. "How much money do I have left?" Serafina gave me a strange look. "You just woke up and this is your first concern. This is a very serious concern." She handed me my phone. I opened my bank app with trembling hands. Balance, $2,870,000. I froze, then almost cried. Serafina leaned over and looked. "Apparently your system left severance pay." I held the phone to my chest. My divine light did not abandon me. She sighed. "You are hopeless." I smiled, then looked at her. "What about you?" She lowered her eyes. "My system is gone." "Can you still see fate?" "No." "Can you still summon swords?" "No." "Can you still kick me?" She looked at me. "That never required a system." I nodded seriously. "Good point." The room became quiet again. After a while, Serafina said softly, "It is over." I looked out the window. Students moved around the campus. Laughing, talking, living. No labels above their heads. No plot threads. No forced roles. Just people. Yes, it is over. But of course, endings were never that simple. Because Kale and Lyra were still alive. And people without systems could still make terrible choices. Chapter 26, Kale disappeared from school for 2 weeks. The Voss family announced he was recovering from stress. That was the official explanation. Unofficially, I heard he had locked himself in his room and smashed everything. Without protagonist authority, Kale was still rich. Still handsome. Still powerful. But no longer untouchable. The Voss family began investigating what he had done. The hired thugs. The school rumors. The attacks on my parents. The forged reports. When systems existed, those things were plot events. After fate disappeared, they became crimes. Very simple. Very satisfying. Lyra returned to school after 3 days. She looked thinner. Quieter. For once, she did not come to me immediately. She paid the compensation for the fountain pen herself. How? I did not know. Probably part-time jobs. Probably selling things. Probably borrowing. But at least she did not ask me. One afternoon, she stopped me near the school gate. Serafina was beside me. Lyra looked at us. Her expression was complicated. Then she lowered her head. "Rowan, I am sorry." I did not speak. She clutched her bag strap. "I know sorry is useless. I know I took too much from you. I know I always acted like your kindness was something I deserved." Her voice trembled. When the system disappeared, I thought I would feel empty. But actually, she smiled bitterly. I felt scared. Because without it telling me I was the heroine, I did not know why anyone should care about me. I looked at her. This Lyra was unfamiliar. Not pure. Not evil. Just a girl forced to see herself clearly. She continued, "I will pay your family back." I raised an eyebrow. "That is a lot." "I know. It may take years." "I know." I nodded. "Then pay my mother directly." Her eyes reddened. You are willing to accept. I am willing to let you repay debt. That is different from forgiveness. Lyra lowered her head. I understand. She turned to leave, then stopped. Rowan, what? Did you ever really like me? Seraphina's expression did not change, but I felt the air become slightly colder. I thought for a moment, then answered honestly. Yes. Lyra's shoulders trembled. But that was before. She nodded slowly. I know. After she left, Seraphina began walking again. I followed. After a while I asked, Are you angry? No. Really? No. Then why are you walking so fast? Exercise. Miss Vale, your excuse is poor. She stopped, turned, looked at me. Fine. I am slightly unhappy. I smiled. Because I liked her before. Seraphina looked away. No. Because she asked. No. Because I answered. She was silent. I laughed softly. Then said Seraphina. She looked at me reluctantly. I liked the childhood memory of her, not the person she became. Seraphina's expression softened slightly. I continued, and now my voice paused. Suddenly I felt nervous. Facing system battles had not made me this nervous. Seraphina raised an eyebrow. And now? I coughed. Now I think fierce girls who pretend not to be gentle are better. Her ears turned red. Then she kicked me. Again. Not hard. Still deserved. Chapter 27. A month later, Kale returned. But he did not return as the school prince. He returned as a suspect. The Voss family had made a choice. Protect the family. Not him blindly. Several people involved in the attacks confessed. Money transfers were traced. Messages were recovered. Kale was not sent to prison immediately because his family lawyers were powerful. But his reputation collapsed. The school that once treated him like a shining moon now whispered behind his back. Amazing. Without fate filters, everyone's eyesight improved. He found me after school. Alone. Or so he thought. I had learned from too many death flags. Seraphina was nearby. My phone was recording. There were security cameras. My father was waiting at the gate. I was no longer the stupid Rowan who walked into alleys for plot convenience. Kale looked thinner. His eyes were tired. But the arrogance had not completely disappeared. Rowan. I nodded. Kale. He looked at me for a long time. Then smiled bitterly. You won. I shook my head. No. I survived. His face stiffened. Maybe because that sounded better than winning. Maybe because it reminded him what he had tried to take. He said, Seraphina will regret choosing you. I thought for a moment. Maybe. Kale seemed surprised. I continued, people can regret many things. But at least it will be her regret. Not a script. Kale's expression twisted. You think you understand her. No. But I listen when she speaks. That sentence silenced him. After a long time he said, I loved her first. I looked at him. This time I did feel angry. Not explosive anger. Cold anger. No. You were loved by her first. That is different. Kale went pale. I stepped closer. You keep saying she was your first love. But what you miss is not her. You miss being loved unconditionally. You miss having someone stand behind you, no matter how ugly you became. His fingers clenched. I continued, that was not love. That was greed. Kale raised his fist. I did not move. Because he stopped himself. Maybe because of the cameras. Maybe because part of him knew. He lowered his hand. Then asked, does she hate me? I looked past him. Serafina stood beneath a tree. She knew he was here. But she did not come closer. I said, ask her yourself if she allows it. Kale turned and saw her. His face changed. For a brief second, he looked like the boy from the memories. Lost. Regretful. Young. Serafina looked at him calmly. No hatred. No love. Only distance. Kale took one step. She did not move. But he stopped. Because he finally understood. There was no invisible thread between them anymore. No system. No plot. No first love chain. Nothing. Only the consequences of what he had done. Serafina said, Kale. His eyes reddened slightly. I am sorry. She was silent for a moment. Then said, I hope one day you understand what you are apologizing for. After that, she turned and walked away. Kale stood there for a long time. I followed her. This time, I did not look back. Chapter 28 Life After Fate was strangely ordinary. No falling flowerpots. No sudden truck. No heroine crying at my door. No system mission. No bank notification every time I refused someone. Honestly, I missed that last one. A little. Okay. A lot. But ordinary life was good. My parents used part of the money to pay off debt. We moved to a better apartment. Not too luxurious. Safe. Bright. With an elevator that did not shake like it was considering retirement. My mother opened a small bakery. My father quit the dangerous construction job and started managing deliveries for her shop. I invested carefully. Very carefully. After everything I experienced, I trusted slow money more than miracle money. Serafina visited the bakery often. At first, she said it was because my mother invited her. Then because the cake was good. Then because she was passing by. One day, I pointed out that her house was in the opposite direction. She calmly said, I took the scenic route. My mother loved her. My father pretended to be stern, but always gave her extra pastries. I suspected they had already decided she was their future daughter-in-law. This made me nervous. Serafina did not seem nervous. She just accepted pastries with a calm face. Very powerful. Lyra began paying monthly. Small amounts at first. Then more. She also stopped wearing pitiful expressions. I heard she worked at a bookstore and studied hard. She no longer followed Kale. Kale transferred schools. Then went overseas. Before leaving, he sent Serafina a letter. She did not open it for 3 days. Then she burned it. I asked without reading. She said if he had something important to say, he should have said it when it mattered. That was very Serafina. Cold. Clear. Correct. Chapter 29. On the day university admission results came out, I was accepted into Capital University. Serafina was accepted too. Different major. Same campus. My mother cried. My father pretended dust entered his eyes. Serafina brought a cake. I looked at the cake. It said, Congratulations, Rowan. Underneath in smaller letters. Do not become arrogant. I stared. Did you add that second line? Serafina sipped tea calmly. Yes. Why? Preventive measure. My mother laughed so hard, she nearly dropped a plate. That evening after dinner, Serafina and I walked downstairs. The summer night was warm. Streetlights glowed softly. For once, nothing dramatic happened. No system voice. No fate warning. No villain attack. Just us. I suddenly said, Serafina. She looked at me. Yes. Back then in the origin page, when you said you choose who you love. She paused, then looked away. What about it? I felt my heartbeat quicken. Have you chosen? She did not answer immediately. The silence stretched. I regretted asking. Maybe it was too sudden. Maybe she was not ready. Maybe she said, I thought you were smarter than this. I blinked. What? Serafina turned back. Her ears were red again. I visit your mother's bakery 3 times a week. I helped your father choose delivery software. I gave you notes for the university entrance exam. I fought fate with you. I kicked Kale out of my life. I kicked you only lightly. She took a breath. How much clearer do I have to be? I stared at her, then slowly smiled. So she narrowed her eyes. If you make me say everything first, I will leave. I immediately said, I like you. Her eyes widened slightly. I continued before courage disappeared. I like you, Serafina Vale. I like your cold face. I like your bad excuses. I like how you pretend not to care while caring more than anyone. I like how you made me feel like my life was not a debt to others. I like that you chose yourself. And I swallowed. I am very happy you chose to stand beside me. Serafina looked at me. The night wind moved her hair. After a long time, she said softly, Rowan Hale. Yes. I like you too. I forgot how to speak. She sighed. Do not look so shocked. I am beginning to regret this. No refunds. What? I smiled brightly. Once purchased, no refunds. She stared at me, then laughed. This time she did not kick me. She held my hand instead. Chapter 30 years later, people still talked about Kale Voss. Some said he became quiet overseas. Some said he started from the bottom in a branch company. Some said he donated money to support victims of school violence. Maybe he changed. Maybe he did not. That was his story now. Not mine. Lyra eventually paid back every cent my family had spent on her. It took her 6 years. On the day of the final payment, she sent one message. I have paid it back. Thank you for once helping me. Sorry for taking so long to understand. I showed my mother. My mother sighed, then said, let it end here. So it ended. No revenge. No reunion. No dramatic forgiveness. Just an old debt finally closed. As for Serafina and me, we built a life that had no script. Sometimes difficult. Sometimes ordinary. Sometimes expensive. Especially when she discovered my investment habits were too conservative and took over half my financial planning. I complained. She ignored me. My money grew anyway. Very humiliating. Very useful. At university, everyone thought Serafina was cold and unreachable. Only I knew she liked sweet milk tea. Only I knew she cried once during a documentary about abandoned dogs. Only I knew she kept the first carton of milk receipt from the cafeteria. When I found it, she tried to deny everything. Unfortunately, I had evidence. She threatened to destroy the evidence. I hid it. This was called survival instinct. On graduation day, we returned to our old high school. The courtyard looked smaller than I remembered. The place where the basketball once hit my head was still there. I stood under the tree and looked around. Serafina stood beside me, thinking about the past. I nodded. If that basketball had not hit me, you would have died. Probably. She frowned. I disliked that answer. I smiled. But I did wake up. And you found me. She looked at the courtyard. After a while, she said, I used to think being someone's first love was important. I turned to her. She continued calmly. Later, I realized it was not. What is important then? She looked at me. Being the person who stays after waking up. My heart softened. I held her hand. Then thank you for staying. She squeezed my fingers. Thank you for living. The wind passed through the trees. No system voice sounded. No plot appeared. No title floated above our heads. And that was the best ending. Because I was not the tragic wallet. She was not the abandoned first love. We were not characters waiting to be used. We were people. Free. Unwritten. Alive. And this. Provide your feedback on BizChat. 10 years later. 10 years later, Rowan Hale became the kind of person his younger self would never have dared to imagine. Not a tragic supporting character. Not a wallet. Not a corpse used to awaken someone else's love. But a living person. A husband. A son. A father. A man who still checked his bank account every morning like it was a sacred ritual. Serafina once asked him, do you really need to look every day? Rowan answered seriously, this is called appreciating peace. She looked at him for 3 seconds. Then said, this is called being obsessed. He did not deny it. Because honestly, both were true. Their home, Rowan and Serafina, lived in a quiet house near the edge of the city. Not too grand. Not too flashy. But warm. There was a small garden behind the house where Serafina grew roses, herbs, and one stubborn lemon tree that refused to produce lemons. Rowan called it kale. Serafina said, do not insult the tree. Rowan said, you are right, at least the tree has potential. Then Serafina threw a gardening glove at him. Their house had wide windows, wooden floors, and too many books. Most of the books belonged to Serafina. Most of the financial documents belonged to Rowan. Their daughter once asked, Dad, why do you have so many papers? Rowan replied, these are proof your father is not poor anymore. Serafina calmly corrected, these are proof your father has trust issues. Their daughter nodded seriously. Oh. Then she asked, can I have $5? Rowan immediately took out his wallet. Serafina stared at him. He froze. Then slowly asked, for what? Their daughter blinked innocently. For snacks. Rowan hesitated. Old shadows flashed through his mind. A girl asking for lunch money. A girl asking for tuition. A girl asking for one last favor. Then his daughter grabbed his sleeve and said, I'll pay you back with a drawing. Rowan instantly gave her $10. Serafina sighed. You are hopeless. Rowan said, this is different. And it was. Because his daughter did not take kindness like it was owed. She hugged him first. Then ran off shouting, Dad is the best. Rowan covered his chest. Worth it. Their daughter's name was Elise Hale. She had Rowan's smile and Seraphina's eyes. This was a dangerous combination, because she looked sweet when asking for things. But when she was serious, even adults straightened their backs. At 6 years old, Elise once saw another child being bullied at school. She did not cry. She did not run. She walked over, stood in front of the smaller child and said, "My mom says people who use strength to hurt others are cowards." The bully laughed. Then Elise added, "My dad says cowards should be invoiced." The teacher later called Rowan and Seraphina. Seraphina sat quietly. Rowan looked proud. Very proud. Too proud. On the way home, Seraphina said, "Do not teach her strange phrases." Rowan replied, but she used it correctly. Elise asked, "Mom, what does invoiced mean?" Seraphina glanced at Rowan. "It means your father is a bad influence." Rowan immediately said, "It means people should pay for their actions." Elise thought carefully, then nodded. "I like Dad's version better." Rowan secretly raised his fist in victory. Seraphina pretended not to see. Rowan's parents were still alive. Healthy, comfortable, loved. That alone was enough to make Rowan wake up grateful every morning. His mother's bakery had become famous in the neighborhood. Not because it was fancy, because it tasted like home. His father handled deliveries, accounts, and occasionally scolded Rowan for working too much. Rowan bought them a larger shop on their anniversary. His mother cried. His father said, "You should save money." Rowan stared at him. "Dad." "What?" "I have saved money." His father coughed. "That is not the point." But that night, Rowan caught his father standing outside the new shop, quietly wiping his eyes. Rowan did not disturb him. Some happiness should be left private. Later, Seraphina found Rowan standing in the hallway, eyes red. She did not expose him. She only placed a cup of warm tea in his hand. He whispered, "In the original fate, they died badly." Seraphina held his hand. "But not here." Rowan nodded. "Not here." Seraphina 10 years later, Seraphina was still cold to outsiders. Elegant. Precise. Difficult to approach. At work, people called her Director Vale Hale. Behind her back, some called her the Silver Judge. Rowan found this nickname extremely cool. Seraphina found it childish. She worked in legal arbitration and family protection cases. People said she had an almost terrifying ability to see through lies. Rowan knew why. Even without the system, some habits remained. Seraphina no longer had the guardian arbitration system. No silver scales. No judgment sword. No fate vision. But she still protected people. Not because a system ordered her to. Because she chose to. Sometimes she came home exhausted. On those nights, Rowan would make soup. Badly. At first, the soup was almost dangerous. Seraphina once stared at the pot and asked, "Are you trying to poison me?" Rowan answered, "I followed the recipe." She said, "Then the recipe has committed a crime." Years later, he improved. A little. Enough that Seraphina no longer looked at the bowl like it was an enemy. That was progress. Rowan became an investor and business consultant. Not the loud kind. Not the kind who appeared on magazine covers every week. He preferred quiet wealth. Stable wealth. Wealth that did not suddenly appear because someone tried to morally kidnap him. He had a personal rule. He invested in businesses that did not exploit desperate people. No predatory loans. No fake charity schemes. No companies built on emotional manipulation. His assistant once asked, "Mr. Hale, why are you so strict about this?" Rowan thought for a moment, then said, "Because I know what it feels like to be treated as someone else's resource." The assistant did not fully understand, but Serafina did. That evening she found him in the study, looking at old documents. The receipts, the hospital bills, the tuition records, the payments his family had once made for Lyra. He kept them not because he still hated her, but because he never wanted to forget. Serafina leaned against the door. "Still looking?" Rowan nodded. "I used to think throwing these away meant I had moved on. And now I think keeping them means I survived." Serafina walked over and closed the folder gently. "Then survive with dinner first." Rowan smiled. "Yes, Director." Lyra Snow did not become the heroine. She became ordinary. At first, ordinary nearly destroyed her. Without the world bending around her tears, life was hard. Money had to be earned. Mistakes had consequences. People did not automatically forgive her because she looked pitiful. But slowly, painfully, she learned. She paid back Rowan's family. Every cent. Then she left the city for several years. The next time Rowan saw her, she was working with a nonprofit that helped orphan students manage scholarships and living expenses. It was almost ironic, but not completely, because this version of Lyra did not ask others to sacrifice. She taught children how not to become dependent on sacrifice. When she met Rowan again, she did not cry. She did not ask for anything. She simply bowed and said, "I hope your life has been good." Rowan looked at her for a while, then said, "It has." Lyra smiled faintly. "That is good." She looked at Serafina beside him, then at Elise holding Rowan's hand. Her expression softened. "I am glad." This time, Rowan believed her. Not enough to bring her back into his life, but enough to let the past stay buried. Kale Voss returned to the city once. Only once. He was 30 now. Still handsome. Still wealthy. But the sharp arrogance from his youth had been worn down. He had spent years overseas, rebuilding himself from the wreckage of who he used to be. Whether he truly regretted everything, Rowan did not know. Whether he deserved peace, Rowan did not decide. Kale came to Serafina's office. He did not ask to see her privately. He made an appointment like anyone else. That alone showed some growth. When Serafina entered the meeting room, Kale stood. "Sira." She looked at him calmly. "Mr. Voss." He paused, then nodded. "Director Vale Hale." They spoke for 10 minutes. No confession. No dramatic apology. No request to start over. Kale simply handed her a document. It was a foundation proposal. For students harmed by family debt, school bullying, and coercive relationships. "I wanted your professional opinion," he said. Serafina read it, then said, "It needs work." Kale smiled faintly. "I expected that." Before leaving, he looked at the wedding ring on her hand. His eyes dimmed slightly, but he did not say anything inappropriate. At the door he stopped. "I did love you." Serafina looked at him. Kale lowered his eyes. "But I loved being loved by you more." For the first time, Serafina did not look cold. Only quiet. "That is probably true." He nodded. "I am sorry." She said, "I know." Not, "I forgive you." Not, "It is fine." Just, "I know." For Kale, That was already more than he deserved. When he left, Rowan was waiting downstairs with coffee. He looked at Serafina. "How was it?" She took the coffee. "Closure." Rowan nodded. "Are you okay?" Serafina looked at him, then said, "Take me home." So he did. Their marriage was not dramatic. That was what made it precious. They argued about curtains, about investments, about whether Elise needed piano lessons, about whether Rowan was spoiling their daughter. He was. Everyone knew it, especially him. But when serious things happened, they stood together so naturally it felt like breathing. When Rowan had nightmares, Serafina woke him without asking too many questions. When Serafina became too quiet after difficult cases, Rowan sat beside her without forcing her to speak. Sometimes love was not grand confession. Sometimes love was making tea, reviewing contracts, holding hands under the table, remembering someone's pain without making them explain it every time. On their 10th wedding anniversary, Rowan took Serafina back to the old music hall, the place where she had cut off her first love. It had been renovated. Clean floors, new lights, a restored piano on the stage. Serafina looked around. "Why here?" Rowan smiled. "Because this is where you chose yourself." She looked at him quietly. "And you?" He coughed. "That too." She laughed softly. Rowan took out a small box. Serafina raised an eyebrow. "We are already married." "I know." "Then what is this?" "A renewal gift." Inside was not a diamond, not jewelry. It was a silver bookmark engraved with one sentence: "No one is born to be another person's plot." Serafina stared at it for a long time, then closed the box carefully. "You remembered." Rowan smiled. "I remember everything." She looked at him, then kissed him first. Rowan froze. Even after 10 years, he still froze sometimes. Serafina pulled back inside. "Still useless." Rowan touched his lips. "Worth it." Their ending 10 years later, Rowan no longer heard the system. But sometimes, when he made the right choice, he imagined a notification. When he refused an unreasonable request, ding, self-respect increased. When he spent time with his parents, ding, family happiness secured. When Serafina smiled at him, ding, life value immeasurable. When Elise ran into his arms, ding, main quest completed. He never told Serafina this, because she would definitely call him childish. Actually, he did tell her once. She stared at him, then said, "Childish." He smiled. "Yes, very childish, very ordinary, very alive." And that was enough. Because 10 years later, Rowan Hale was not rich because of the system. He was rich because his parents were alive. Because his daughter laughed loudly in the garden. Because Serafina came home every evening and placed her coat beside his. Because no one stood above their heads writing their ending. Their life was not perfect, but it was theirs. And for people who once fought fate itself, that was the greatest victory.